In this video we're going to look at the bucket tool and brushes, and it's not just the brush tool which has a brush as a form, and we'll go through some of the other tools which also have a brush form. To start off with, I'm going to open a new blank file which has a white background. So let's get the layers, click on the layers panel. That's our first layer. Let's add a new layer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill the whole of layer 1 with a colour. So I'm going to turn off the background so we can see we've got a transparent background. I'm going to start off with a purple. So I go down to the colour swatches and I click on it's the dark violet. I then go over to the tools and I click on the bucket. Place the bucket within the page and I click, and it fills it with a colour. So that's basically how you would fill a layer with colour. So let's create a new layer, and what I'm going to do is we're going to now use the brush. So I click on the brush and I'm going to choose white this time. So if we go down to the bottom, I can swap these two colours around by just clicking on the arrows, and that alternates between them. So if we have a look at our options with the brush, let's click on the drop down arrow and you see these are the options that you've got at the moment. Default brushes, you've got hard round brushes, and you've got soft round brushes, and you use these in different circumstances. And then further down you've got other brushes. So let's just start with the hard round brush. At the moment the brush is quite small, it's only 19 pixels, so I'm going to click on the drop down arrow. I'm going to move that up and make it about 100 pixels. Don't worry about the mode at the moment. And then the opacity is how thick the colour is going to be, whether it's going to be transparent, which is the opposite, or totally opaque, which means you can't see through it at all. So now if I draw on the page, I click and hold down the mouse, I'm going to draw some lines across. And one down. Now you may decide when you're doing something like this that you don't want the white line to be so hard. You want some of the purple to show through. So we can change the opacity. And I'm going to make that much less. Now if I draw a line, you'll see it looks as if it's purple, a very light purple. Oh, I don't like that. I'm just going to take that away. So I go to the undo history and I click on where I was before. So you can go back as many steps as you want. Let's try that again. It's better. Okay, so if I hide the bottom layers, that is what you've got. You've got the thick white, and then you've got a very almost transparent white on the outside where you change the opacity. Let's turn the purple back on again. So that's using a hard brush. What happens if you use a soft brush? So I'm going to click on a soft brush. And I want to increase the size slightly. And there's two ways you can increase the size. The way I showed you just now, by moving the slider, or you can use the square brackets. So if I press the left-hand square brackets a couple of times, you'll see it gets smaller. Or if I click the right-hand brush, it gets bigger. We have chosen a soft brush. So let's see what happens. And the opacity is 40. Let's take that up to 100. Now if I click, you'll see that it's got a hazy outside. The inside is very white, but the outside is very hazy. And let's see what happens when you draw a line. So if we fill in this section, it almost looks as if the line's got a glow to it. Let's switch those layers off for a moment. I'm going to go back to the brush, and I'm going to choose a hard brush, a little bit more than 19, so about 50. Now whenever you want to get the default foreground and background colours, you click these two squares. And now I've got a black foreground colour and a white background colour. Let's create a new layer. I just paint on this. If I now click on the bucket, when we used the bucket before, it filled the entire page. But if you have marks, strong marks like this, these create boundaries. So let's choose red. So if I click in this space, it'll fill all that space with the red. Now let's choose an orange. So if I click in this space, that'll be orange. Let's click in this space, that'll be orange, and that'll be orange. And then for my last colour, I'm going to choose a green. I click, click. Okay. So that's how the bucket works. Again, we could decide, oh, I want to change this red, I don't like that. So let's choose a blue. I click. Okay, let's delete some of these layers. So let's delete the white layer. And I'm going to create a layer on top now. And let's turn this layer off. Let's use a completely different brush. I'm going to choose a yellow. I'm going to click on the brush and I'm going to choose one of these fuzzy brushes. And to make it very big, I use the right-hand square brush. Check my opacity, it's 100. And I'm just going to click here and there in the space. And as you see, if I click over, it becomes much darker. So every time you click over, you're doing another layer of paint on top. Let's switch on the purple so you can see. So that's what that brush does. Let's create another layer. And a brush doesn't just have to be stripes or stipples. It can actually be flowers or leaves or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load a brush. And it's going to be the doodle flower. I'm going to choose purple again. If I click on the down arrow, I'm going to choose the doodle flower. Right, let's just click anywhere on the page. Now I mentioned that it isn't just the brush tool which has a brush form. So let's go to the eraser. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to combine the top two layers, and I do that, I switch off all the other layers. So I've got these two layers on, and I go to Layer, Merge Visible. I'm going to go and I'm going to turn on the white background layer. And say, for example, I had a picture, that the white background was a picture, and I wanted to see through it. In fact, let's load a picture. So go to File, Open Recent, and I've got this picture of some orchids. I'm going to just rotate it, so it's Image, Rotate, 90 degrees right. I double click on my original picture, and I'm going to click at the bottom so that the layer comes at the bottom, and I'm going to drag this on. I'm going to turn off the top layer so I can see. I go to my Move tool, and I'm going to just make this so that it just overlaps, make sure it all fits on. I'm going to turn my top layer on. But I want to be able to see these flowers through. So if I just change the opacity of this layer, so I can just see the flowers coming through. I'm going to choose my eraser tool, and I'm going to choose a soft brush. The brush now is a little bit too small, so I'm going to increase the size using my right-hand square bracket. And I've got the opacity set to about 52, and I'm going to leave it. So I make sure this top layer is selected, and I'm just going to slowly but surely erase. And I'm holding down the mouse. Every time I release, it takes more, and press again, it takes more away. So if I click a lot of times on that one space, it will take all the pictures off there. That shows you some of the things you can do. I'm going to open a new file so you can see other ways that you can use the bucket and brush tool. So open recently edited file. This is a picture of an old man that I took in Singapore. First thing I'm going to do is add a new layer. I'm going to go down to my bucket tool. I'm going to make sure that my foreground colour is black, and I'm going to put black in that layer. Then, so that I can just see through, I'm going to change the opacity so that I can just see his head. Now I'm going to select the eraser tool. As I mentioned before, it's not just the brush tool which has a brush form. So if I click on the eraser, you'll see that it looks very similar at the top here. I want to make sure that I've got a hard round brush, and I'm going to change the opacity so that it's 100. But my brush is still a little bit too small. It's just a little bit more. That's about it. Click on the down arrow again to get rid of the bar. Right, I'm going to put the circle around his head. First of all, I must make sure, yes, my razor is on. I'm going to click once. And now you can see it's put a circle around his face. I'm going to put the opacity all the way up now, so you can see now only his face is visible. Let's create a new layer. I'm going to fill this layer with black as well. So we go to, the black is selected, we go to the bucket tool. I'm going to turn off that one first. Right, fill the top layer. Now I'm going to use a soft brush. So I click on the eraser, change the brush type of the eraser to a soft brush. I'm going to change the opacity to about 52. And we still need to make that brush bigger. Now I'm going to click and just drag around, and you'll see that it clears it. If I click again, every time I click, it'll make it a little bit lighter. So I can create a halo around the man's face. Let's create another layer. And this time I'm going to use red. Go down to my bucket tool. I'm going to fill the whole of that layer with red. Now I want to be able to see through this. I'm going to just change the just see his head. This time I'm again going to choose the eraser, but I'm going to make it a bit smaller, and I'm going to do it exactly on his head. Now I'm going to change the order of the layers. So I'm going to click on the black layer, I'm going to drag it to the top, and there you are. You can create you almost create a red halo around his face. And you can change the opacity of any of these at any time if it's too strong. So you might decide, well, the black one you want a little less strong, so that the red comes through. It looks as if the red gets darker. And I could even switch the black one on again, and look what it does. So you can have a lot of fun with all these different layers. If I was to switch the background off altogether, that's what the 3 layers look like. So that's just giving you a quick idea of what you can use the paint bucket and the brushes for.